Greetings, everybody. Howdy ho.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Wasn't that earlier?
Finale already? Wait, you
That
said it's
was
the finale already? They only do 5 episodes this season? 6? That's ridiculous.
so spoiler. Stark is a zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't have any audio. Ah,
Art over.
I had no audio. Thanks, cornbread. So, all right. So, Rob, you're gonna have to cut this part out. But so
Okay.
what I was saying was, hello and welcome to this Xbox Live episode 448, fastest pre-order ever. I'm Brun BJ Swick 33. Along with me is Mark Wingman 709
Howdy ho.
and Rob, also known as Presar.
Hello again.
Yes,
Hello, hello, hello.
hello again. And as I was saying before, but I guess I can just say it right now for those who are tuning in from the finale of Game of Thrones, welcome. So, but yeah, I forgot to turn my channel on. It looks like on my microphone. So, my bad,
Well,
guys.
everybody's lucky because I gave out a major spoiler
Yeah. Well,
earlier.
they could hear you. So, but
Okay.
people listening to MP3 won't know that because you're going to cut the first couple minutes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut out the whole part that I said Eddard Stark is a zombie.
Oh, Lee is a zombie.
Oh,
Lee's the
oh,
zombie. So,
darn it! I did it again.
oh man, what's with you?
Yeah.
But no Game of Thrones talk.
I
No kidding.
did
That's what I was
it
saying.
again.
So, all right. Quick announcement: we go live every Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we talk for as long as we need to on Twitch.tv/this Xbox Life. And so, welcome everybody. And usually we start our show with what we've been playing, but I had another quick announcement. I, BJ Swick 33, have been playing a little bit under TXL's banner when I've been streaming some Battlefield 1 and things like that. So if you see TXL going live during the week and stuff like that, that's me. Come play, watch, have fun, support the show by viewing. One thing that I'm trying to help work on is getting us affiliated in some way. So we'll see if we can get that affiliation. Our hours needed to be bumped up, and we also had to have an average viewership, which we typically meet every Sunday. But there's a couple other times during the week. I'm trying to do at least two to three additional hour and a half streams during the week when I can. Played a lot of Battlefield, but I think it'd be fun to play some Titanfall Frontier Defense this week. So I know Cornbread was we played Battlefield together, and he mentioned he picked up Titanfall 2. So I think it would be cool to play some Frontier Defense because I know he's getting really sick of Slime Rancher, which I know is his game of the year. But yeah, we'll do that. Hawk, you're correct. Usually when we were going live throughout the week, it was typically for testing. And I usually change the title to testing, but now the title I changed to TF2 or BF1 with BJ Swick 33 or something like that is what I'm doing now. So, but yeah, definitely come and
Play
check
with,
us out. So what's that?
play with BJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Play with Brun.
yeah,
Playtime with Brun. There you
yeah.
go.
But even if you just turn on the stream and let it roll, let's say I'm cool with that. But all right, guys, what have we been playing? Rob, what have you been playing?
All right. Not a whole ton of stuff lately. I'm still recovering from Gen Con last week.
Still?
But yeah, still like today I was just so exhausted because that wound up, I don't know if I mentioned it last time. Over the course of basically a day and a half, I logged about 41,000 steps just walking around. And then it immediately like went into like crazy work mode where I was getting like 4 hours of sleep a night. So today I just like crashed, watched TV all day. It was awesome. It was awesome. Napping and TV. I was actually hoping to get a whole bunch of gameplay in today, but I was like too tired to get up from the sofa. So that's some crazy stuff right there. But I did play a little bit of Fable Fortune. So that's the Fable game. It's like a Hearthstone kind of knockoff, or whatever you want to call it. It was on Kickstarter about a year and a half ago, and it's in game preview right now. So I jumped on it, and overall, I am pretty disappointed in it. It was kind of a letdown. It's not very polished. Seems kind of clunky, and I don't know. It's very disappointing. That's that's the way that I can put it best right now. I know it's in preview, but it's still disappointing. So hopefully it'll change. Hopefully they'll I'll say polish it, make it a lot nicer. But yeah, I was expecting a lot from it, but for some reason, I don't know. And then there was one more game from Bethesda, and I was trying to remember the name of it. It's on my tablet that I was playing. It's that card game that they came out with. Do you guys remember what it's called? No. It's like the Holder series, or I'll look it up. I'll see if I can come up with it in a little bit.
Okay.
Just totally drawn a blank on it right now. Actually, here. It is Elder Scrolls. That was it.
Oh, okay.
Elder Scrolls Legends. That's really good. That one is really, really good. So that's about it for me. Just those two.
All right. Mark, what about you?
All right. So, you know what, Braun? Why don't you go first? 'Cause
Okay.
I'm gonna probably take a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that's why you're saying we couldn't keep it with under 3 hours today.
I need to clarify something to the community, and it might take me a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Couple to tree.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I played Titanfall 2. I played a round or two of Frontier Defense, and I played Battlefield 1. Like I say, I was streaming, but that's all I paid. It's all I had really time for. So now you go.
All right. This week I did try out. Yesterday I tried out this game. It's a free-to-play game called Path of Exile. I think that's what it's called. It's free to play. It's like kind of like Diablo essentially.
Okay.
And so far it's okay. I only played a little bit yesterday. I also played some Gears of War 4 with who did I play with? Eric and Ryan from Horrible Gamers and Pinpoint Red. They invited me in to play, trying to do that Horde. Was it called Frenzy mode? Where it's just like 25 waves of Horde, and you get a boss level every 5 waves. So we played that for a while, and then I did play Agents of Mayhem. Now this is where I need to talk a bit. So when this first came out, and I think the last 2 weeks, I've kind of talked about it, how I liked it, I was enjoying it, and I think that I spoke a little too soon.
Nope.
This game, and I kind of had some initial. I think even last week I was kind of like, well, kind of not sure how I felt about it, but kind of here's where I'm standing. Okay, I have completed the game, so I've played the whole campaign, and so this is a pretty honest review. It's not a bad game, but it is not a great game. I don't think the game's worth $60. I would highly recommend waiting until it probably hit $30 price tag at most to play the game.
Which is
couple of
probably
things.
going to be what, in 2 weeks with the way
Probably.
things have been going.
Yeah, it probably is already there, but so here's my things. I do I do like the animation, the cartoonish cutscenes are fantastic. They look so good. I think the story is good. If you're familiar with Saints Row and that developer, I think it's Volition. Um, hopefully I said that right. Hopefully I got the right one in my
Yeah.
mind. Then you're familiar with kind of like their over the top kooky stories, right? Well, that's what this is. I mean, so if you're, you can deal with that, then it's good. They did a good job. They had really interesting characters, I thought, for Legion, which is the bad guys. Which here's another thing, and I can't get this. To me, this seems weird. You have two groups. One's called Legion. One's called Mayhem. Which one do you think would be the bad guys,
Mayhem.
Rob?
Wait,
Legion
Legion
or
and
Mayhem?
Mayhem?
Yeah, who do you think would be the bad guy?
Well, Mayhem, of course.
Okay.
Right.
And that's the whole time I keep playing this. I keep thinking the same thing. No, Mayhem are the good guys. You are the agents of a Mayhem.
Right.
And it stands for something. I don't remember what it is. It's all spelled out in the very beginning. They tell you what Mayhem stands for and what Legion stands for, but it's the complete opposite. Legion's bad, Mayhem is good, which is weird, but it was just one of those things I kept couldn't wrap my mind around for some reason. But anyways, that has nothing to do with the game. It's been criticized by some that there's no weapons. Like you get a character and they only have one weapon and that's it. That's all you get. And I'm okay with that because there's 10 characters in the game, and if you want the Gatling gun, you switch to Daisy. If you want the SMG, you switch to Kingpin. If you want the assault rifle, you play with Hollywood. You just switch a character to switch the guns. So no, it doesn't have all these upgrades and different stuff for all these guns, and you can't use a character and change your gun. You never swap your gun out. But I'm fine with that because that's kind of the way the game's set up, and I'm cool with that. I don't see that as a negative. I actually kind of think it's kind of neat because when you switch a gun, you're switching a play style. Now, my beefs with the game are as follows. I've run into a lot of bugs, which I did not see originally when I first started playing my first week and a half. After I got past 10 hours into the game, I started getting real crashes, where I would go to launch a mission and your agents are supposed to come up and I'm seeing placeholder names in the code, on the screen, and the agents aren't even there. And I've seen that many times. You go to somewhere and all of a sudden you're reading put header here or something like that. And it's what? I mean, it's just Run, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's a placeholder and it's okay, that just completely failed. And the only way to basically get out of that is to reboot the game. I've been in their dungeons, which they call lairs. And first of all, the lairs are basically, there's one lair, and you just run through it in different directions, sometimes forward, sometimes backwards. That changes us up, as I guess. So that's really lame. It gets really boring. And I think that was a real big cop out because you spend a lot of time in their quote lairs, and it's the same one every time you go through. That really blows. It's an open world game, yet the world is devoid of any life. People are just walking around. There's no interactions with people on the streets. There's at the end of this game, I'm driving around. It's I don't even know where you are in the city. The city is not I played games The Division, or if you played Grand Theft Auto or stuff. It's once you've played it a certain amount of time and you've driven around the city, you get to know where you're at. You get to be oh yeah, I know, the clothing stores around the corner on the right, or and it was kind of the same with Saints Row. You got to kind of know these certain neighborhoods. And in this town, you're playing in Seoul, Korea is where you're supposed to take place, a future version of Seoul. But it's really boring. There's just nothing to it. and it's like it's only there to go from like so when you go on a mission, you spawn down at the spawn point in the city, and it's never by the mission. You have to get in a car and drive through the mission just to hop out and hit the button to start the mission, which loads something else. And a lot of times they're layers. So sometimes you're in the city doing a mission, but it's just like it almost feels pointless. And I was surprised that a company that has done several open world games did one that really didn't feel like you were playing an open world game. Um, there's a lot of side missions and races and things that just like don't add to the game. They don't really do anything. Um, and then the last thing that I really felt was really lacking in this game was there you level up your agents and you can get up to level 40. It's weird too. Like the achievements like get an agent up to level 40. Well, you go up to level 20, and then what you do is you go into super agent mode, and then you use these crystal shards to go to an additional 20 levels. But it's not like your level never goes above 20. You see another number on the other side going 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 20. So all you ever really see is these, agents at 20 and 20. But that comes with all these additional like bonuses and perks. But the thing about it is, never once when I was adding a perk or adding anything new or leveling up my agent, I never felt like it ever made a change. Like I never got more powerful. And it's like every special perk has like a plus and a negative. It's like, oh, well, you'll do more area of effect, but you're going to be more vulnerable. So it's like you're not really powering up. You're
No.
not getting better. And it's like, why am I getting an ability that actually, yeah, it improves this, but it weakens something else? So when I'm when I got my guy at level 40, he really feels the same as if he was like a level 2. The damage he does and everything, you don't get that feeling like, wow, my agent's powerful, like in the game that shall not be named. When you're going after those orbs and you're getting stronger and you can jump higher and you can do more damage, and you feel that, you see the change, you actually know that your agent is getting more powerful. It just doesn't, it's not there in this game. And it's just really weird. It's like at the end of it, I'm like, I got the same guy I started with, even though I've leveled him all the way up. So it's weird in that way. So again, I think it was a real letdown. I really expected a lot more from this developer. I loved Saints Row 3 and 4. I liked Gat Out of Hell. That was an expansion after the fourth one, I think. I was really kind of expecting more, and I really feel this was real streamlined, basic. Maybe they didn't do everything they wanted to do, but I just don't feel it's worth the money. And there are a lot of bugs they need to fix. There's a lot of issues with the game that need to be fixed. I was actually concerned I was going to have a corrupted game save. I mean, that's just something you don't worry about. But when I kept seeing like these placeholders and like that's the stuff you shouldn't see, and game that kept crashing, and a lot of times in the layers I kept running into where it would say clear out all the enemies. Well, some of the enemies aren't even in that room. I had one issue where there were several in another room that you couldn't go into, but somehow I was supposed to kill those guys in the other room to advance. Yet you couldn't go through the door because you didn't kill everyone yet. I was like, and I've been in there where it says kill all the enemies and there's no enemies. You've killed them all, but it didn't like register. So you have to do like a restart checkpoint to get it to start. It's just like, oh, this is terrible, and that happened numerous times that I've had to restart a checkpoint because the game doesn't recognize that you've completed the objective that it asked you to do. And that's just really bad. So that's, I just wanted to give you guys an update. If you haven't bought it, if you bought it on my recommendation, oh my gosh, I apologize. I hope you enjoy it enough. I mean, I still enjoyed the game, but I really expected, and I feel this developer should have been able to provide more, and it should be at least take the bugs out of it. But anyways, so that's it for Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah, welcome to the world where you can release a broken game. So,
yeah, I just feel bad because I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun and it's stuff's blowing up. And it's, at the beginning, I really thought it was like, oh, here's the game that shall not be named that will get me through until it releases November 7th, which it's not going to do. And it's turned out to be like completely different. Like there's even these crystal shards to collect. And I was like, oh yeah, this will be cool. I can go do this instead of orbs. I'm getting shards, and they're kind of pointless. There's a thing where you can get 10 of these crystal shards and it makes this red crystal, and you can put this in and give your agent a power up. And every one of those were like, well, that really didn't seem to change anything. Whether I had those 3 slotted or not, the agent, nothing, like you didn't notice the difference. That's the weird thing. Like you didn't notice that you had a better ability. It was like everything is the same. So I don't know. It's just strange. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know Ryan from Horrible Gamers, him and I spoke a lot about it. He actually quit playing it. He felt very much the same. Him and I kind of a very similar opinion of this. But anyways.
Yeah. Now, you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were on Horrible Gamers yesterday, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if anybody wants to hear Wing on Horrible Gamers, make sure you check out the latest episode.
And please know that show is not family friendly. I'm family friendly, but I hardly said anything in the whole. I think all I said was this, like what I'm talking to you. I talked about this, sharing similar thoughts with them, but the rest of the show is pretty quiet. They had topics like Ryan was teasing me. Hey, you want the links of the show so you can talk about this story on your show? And I was like, no. It goes into areas that we don't go into on our show. I was actually at one point going, I really should probably leave.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I just kind of sat with my head down, and it just gets a little graphic. It's just, not something I really wanted to be. I love those guys. Those guys are great. They just had a topic. It was the rate of the gaming. It just wasn't anything I would have wanted to discuss, and I didn't say a word other than no. I have no comment.
Okay. Well, everybody keep that in mind. All right. Our next thing is Patreon.com. So if you go to thisxboxlife.com/Patreon, you can become a patron of the show. Or if you prefer to go to, if you have a Patreon account and you want to see our page on there and you're already on Patreon.com, just do /thisxboxlife. Of course, that's more of the monthly subscription type model. But if you want to do just a straight tip model, you can go to thisxboxlife.com/donate. And all proceeds and stuff, go to help out the show. And pay for Rob's salary, and we keep his electric going. Isn't that right, Rob? I'm just kidding. So, but all right. Our round table or topics this week. The first thing I wanted to mention, which is the title of the show, is the fastest pre-order ever. I was a little surprised on this because I thought the 360 sold pretty well, but I can't recall if they did like this whole pre-order thing or not.
They did. Well, I know retailers did it, but
right.
I don't think pre-orders back then are like pre-orders now.
Yeah. So I believe it was Phil Spencer that tweeted out, thanks to our fans, Xbox One is the fastest selling Xbox pre-order ever, which is fantastic news. I mean, that's huge, right?
It depends. I think that was Aaron Greenberg that did it.
Was it?
I don't know if it's newsworthy. Here's the question. How many were available for pre-order? If you only had 1,000, well then duh. They're gonna go, it's gonna you know what I'm saying? If you had 10 million and they sold out faster than any ever, then yeah, that's huge news. But they wouldn't even give the numbers. So I don't know. To me, I think this is I hate to say it, I think this is kind of fake.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is for
this happen.
It is for the Xbox One. Project Scorpio edition is the edition that they're talking about. They're not talking about all Xbox One X's, but they are talking about the Scorpio edition.
Well, but this is all that was available.
Oh, okay.
That's all that's available at when that went live. Every retailer it was the Project Scorpio edition. So, Amazon sold out in 20 or 25 minutes. They were
Right.
completely sold out. I guess Target, Walmart, GameStop, they all sold out within less than 24 hours. Ryan went to his GameStop and he said that they told him that they only got 14 of these at their store.
Right.
So that, okay. I mean, there's a lot of GameStops,
Yeah.
and this is in Canada. So
This is worldwide too. These pre-orders that
so-
I'm talking about is worldwide.
Yeah.
right. So it's just kind of like, well, how many did everybody get? How many were actually sold? If they sold over 1 million pre-orders, then yeah, that's I think newsworthy. If it was a small amount that they actually had available, then I really think it's just kind of a fake news story because you can't really compare like, oh, they had a 2-3 million 360s out there available for pre-order, and you only had 500,000 Xbox One X's. That's not comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
So
I would.
wouldn't get excited over it. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. The titles look great, and that's what they want you to remember. But and even Microsoft, it's as much as I love them and want this thing to be successful, we still have to keep everything in perspective.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
Well-
in my own mind, I would think that it would be at least a couple million.
Well, there was one thing I wanted to look at, and I just remembered about hearing about it. So I did read an article that supposedly and I don't know if I can find this, the amount of Project Scorpio editions exceeds the amount of PS4s sold in 2017.
PS4 Pros sold in 2014.
So I don't know, the PlayStation they don't break that down. And I'm not sure how Microsoft has it, or I don't remember where I read that article,
Right.
but that because Microsoft's not releasing numbers. So I was like, well, how did you get the numbers? But that's supposedly the pre-orders have already exceeded the PlayStation or sold in the whole year so far. So
Yeah. And
I
at
don't-
one point in time, I thought they were saying like one in 3 PlayStations sold since the Pro came out was a Pro. So we don't know, but I mean, that's one of those things. It's something like, yay, good news for us, and then everybody else will just talk it down and say PlayStation's better. So, I mean, one way or the other.
I'm just
So-
saying, I'm not trying to be a hater. Everybody out there, don't start sending me hate
Yeah.
mail. But I
It's
mean, we
gotta
got to
be-
be
it's-
honest.
It's got to be a couple million. I mean, you don't
I don't know about
you don't open pre-orders for your launch console that is supposed to be the greatest thing ever and say, "Oh, we're only going to have 200,000." That is what Nintendo does.
But remember though, okay. Again, we're coming in. They're getting beat big time by Sony. That's obvious. Sony's sold twice as many consoles, right?
Sure.
So now you're coming out with this more expensive console, basically twice the price of the S, and trying to justify it. And some people are going, "Well, it's not worth it." And they've even said they expect the S to be their number one seller, not the X. This is a premium. You don't typically put your premiums out for mass market. So that's why I don't believe there was millions of these ready for pre-order. I really don't believe that because it's a premium device. It is. It's got a premium price on it right now
All right.
compared to everything else on the market.
Yes. it
Yeah,
does.
I believe it deserves it. But again, I don't think that they had millions of these available.
Yeah.
So, I mean, great, cool, but it's still kind of meaningless to me. It's like, okay, whatever. I
Yeah.
want this thing to be successful. And I know our next topic is like, when I saw that, it blew my mind. I was really shocked when I saw what we're about to talk about in a minute, but got me excited, and I'm really glad to start seeing some stuff. And I think it does warrant it. Haters are going to hate, but again, even we got to keep our. I want Xbox fans to take the high road. Don't be trying. Let's know our facts and not get into these little, stupid wars. I play on PlayStation. I play on PC. We all do. So, sorry, not trying to bring down the show, guys. I'm just saying.
No, I'm trying to remember.
Sold 5 of them, of course, they're going to be the fastest ever. I just wish they would have said we sold 2 million or something, because then it just puts more meat to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like because they didn't release that it kind of gives it that air of, well, you obviously didn't have many out there to begin with.
Yeah.
And that could be. We don't really know.
Yep.
Well, when you look at it, they're in a position right now where they're not the leader. They're coming out with a premium product, right? I mean, they've said this over and over. Premium product, premium quality, we'll say, and also premium price tag. Now, with the press that they've been getting for the last couple of years, I would think that they would have to manufacture this into a win of some sorts. And it doesn't mean that it's also like a bad thing, because I would think Microsoft, when they do these pre-orders, they have to do it in such a way that it comes out positive for them, because the media is just itching to start doing. They probably already have news stories already drafted about what a failure this thing's going to be. And they need to turn this into a win. They need to build that momentum. So if they need to lower their pre-order amount just to make sure that it sells out, sure. Well, okay, fine. Go ahead. But the thing is, they'll be available later on this year. You just won't get that custom edition, right? And plus, also, they can't flood the market with 2 million of the special launch console, can they?
No.
So
I would say no. I think they should make like a nice like flat number, like 1 million, like we made 1 million.
Yeah, because for the people that pre-ordered it, and they're going to get the special Scorpio edition. How special is it if everybody on your block has one?
Yeah, but I mean, 1 million sold in 5 days is pretty impressive. Definitely in a time when 1 million is what wins a month now with consoles and things like that. But was it
right? And this was less than a day.
Yeah, was our I don't know if it was in our group or if it was you, Mark, or I can't remember where I read it, but somebody was saying an excellent point of like, PlayStation 4 comes out, PlayStation 4 Pro comes out, and it's nothing about 50,000 reasons why you should go out and get it. But then the Xbox One gets announced and it's 100,000 reasons why you shouldn't get it. By the press and stuff. Was that you that said that, or was it in our group?
I also posted that, but
yeah. I thought it was a pretty interesting thing, because when I read that, I was just like, that is actually kind of interesting that it's like, oh, don't buy the Xbox One. You don't have a 4K TV, or you already have an Xbox One, or, it's $400, it's $400 or $500, or it's this, or it's this. And it's just like, oh, PlayStation 4 Pro, oh, it's only, $400. Oh, you don't have an HDR TV? That's okay. You'll eventually get an HDR TV. It was just like all these things, and you're just like, are you kidding me or what? I mean, but yeah, all right. You were alluding to the next story, and my whole thing was like the screenshots that are going out, comparing versions of. It was Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe.
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider on PC, on PlayStation 4 Pro, and on the Xbox One X. And I was just like, wow, okay. That's pretty impressive when you go and look at it. So for those who haven't seen it yet, go out there and look at that, because it is pretty interesting. The Xbox One X actually looks better than the PC version. I did not go to look to find out if they were all, the 4K versions of it, or what the graphics was compared on the PC and things like that, but it does look really good. I mean, if graphics is your thing and graphics is what sells you, not really. Graphics don't sell me on games, to be honest. I will say it's like, oh, okay, her face looks pretty, all right. But if graphics is one thing you look at to compare and things like that, then you definitely have to take a look at this, because I was pretty impressed by it. So, but what'd you guys think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the I got the link in there. Actually, is not the image I was looking for. There was another story. I think it was Digital Foundry again that had done the comparison. It was like a picture of Laura's like shoulder, and she had like a wound on her shoulder, and you could just see the difference between the X and the PS4 Pro, and it was just I was like blown away how night and day different it was. And it
Right.
was like, wow. I mean, the X looked darn near real, you know. And when you compared it to the Pro version, I was like, okay, that's just like a splotch of red paint, and you could really see them. It didn't look real. It didn't even the character didn't look as real, and I was just really like, wow, that's probably the best image comparison I've seen yet. Um, and I'm looking forward to um, seeing more of these comparisons, and I'm really looking forward to these places that do these. I'm predicting, and I'm going to say this now. I'm going to predict that pretty soon IGN will stop doing comparison videos.
Oh, you think?
I believe they will, and I
Yeah.
believe all these other companies will probably stop doing it. And when you see that happen, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
They have been beating up on Xbox forever for like stuff that's like, and I've looked at these I've looked at these 900p versus 1080p pictures, and I'm like, okay, that white looks a little whiter. Maybe their helmet is a little shinier in this one. I mean, I'm like, you're staring at them and you're like, what's the difference? Now the one and it was in our Facebook group, you didn't have to stare at that. It was immediately like, whoa,
Yeah.
like those aren't even close. I mean, it was identical pictures, but they were so different between the two. It was just mind blowing. And now, someone I was talking to yesterday, I think it was on HGP, they were saying, "Oh, but they took the Xbox One X 4K image and compared it to the Pro's 1080p. That's not even fair."
No.
And so we had so here you go. So it's already kind of starting, right? But here was my counter. Okay, so first of all, Digital Foundry is a very fair outfit.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I feel they're noted for. That's why Microsoft let them say, "Here, we're giving it to you. Go ahead and you announce what you find." That's how confident Microsoft is in this, that they gave it to a third party to do the initial announcement. What company does that? Who had, they basically lost full control of the initial announcement, but they had that much confidence in what this thing can do. So the thing I said was, okay, so why would they compare it, the 4K Xbox X version, to the PS4 Pro's 1080p version? Maybe because they're comparing similar frame rates. Because you want the game, yeah. If the game is, if you have to run it on 1080p on a Pro to get a nice smooth frame rate, okay, well, for that same frame rate of running smooth and not impacting your gameplay, here's what it's going to look like on the X.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering if they're talking about the 1080p version comparing the 4K to the 1080p version. Is they should be comparing what the version of the game is that's running on the device. So Xbox One X is getting a 4K update for Tomb Raider, correct? So they're doing that. Is there a 4K version for the PS4 Pro? Because last time I heard, PS4 Pro was supposed to do some sort of 4K. So that should be the version that they should be displaying. But if there isn't a 4K version on PS4 Pro, and all you have is the 1080p version on PS4 Pro, guess what it's going to get compared with? And then, you get compared to the 900p on Xbox One. Nobody's complaining about the 4K versus 900p on Xbox One. What I'm guessing is the P's matter, but the K's don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so... But
no one complained about the 1080p compared to the 900, right?
Right.
Exactly. But now it's going to be like, oh, well, you're not even comparing the same thing. It's like, then step up, Sony.
Yeah.
We can't compare it to something that isn't there. They are comparing your top end to our top end, or Microsoft. I shouldn't say our. I'm not Microsoft. They're going to give you the best compared to the best, and if there's a difference, there's your reason to purchase the upgrade if you want.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm a little aggravated about the Xbox One X is that and it's actually probably not the Xbox One X, it's not Microsoft, but this whole thatching 4K thatching type thing, they've claimed 100 times that the Xbox One X can do native 4K. Sorry, PS4 Pro does not do native 4K. They can say it does 4K, it does not do native 4K. It does the thatching.
Exactly.
Still looks beautiful, fantastic. But, of course, like anybody else on a box or anything, or like we were discussing earlier, you're going to say what you need to say, and there's going to be shades of gray in there. We have 4K. They're not going to say we have native 4K or thatching 4K.
How many shades of gray?
Yeah, well, 50 of them about. That's what I'm thinking. So, Hawk is saying the PS4 Pro has 3 resolutions. They have 4K, high frame rate, and high detail. Okay, native 4K, Hawk? Because I don't think so.
No, they don't. They do not have native 4K. It's all checkerboarding.
Yeah, checkerboard. Sorry, when I said that, it was Okay, checkerboarding. And Hawk, that is okay for them to have that. They can say they have 4K because it is. It's 4K. And some of these games that are getting these updates on Xbox One X are using checkerboarding 4K. They're not native 4K. So,
but you know what? There's a lot of them that are actually getting native 4K updates.
Right. There are some.
That was the things that came out of Gamescom.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Gamescom or Con?
Com.
Is it with a
COM? M.
M. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Gamescom, that was one of the things. There was like this article I read. These guys got to go back behind this curtain or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there was a whole bunch of playable games on the X of existing games with their updates. And there is an article somewhere out there on the internet that basically shows you the list of games that are going to be, and there's over 100 games already that are getting the 4K update, and it even breaks down if it's true 4K or if it's checkerboarding. Right. And they said they were shocked at the amount that are getting the native 4K.
Well, good for them.
So it's like so and these are developers that and there was third party in this group. It's not all just Microsoft. There's third party that are doing this. Mm-hmm. So if they're going to do that on existing titles, of course they're going to do it on new games coming out. Right. So I think that really what I got out of it was, don't be worried about the lowest common denominator that that Sony themselves said, oh, they're only going to write for us anyways. It's like, how arrogant is that corporation that they think the devs are only going to write for them?
Yeah.
Destiny, you paid them a bajillion, bucks, and Bungie's there's a bunch of, never mind, family-friendly show.
Yeah.
But, outside of them, you're just not going to see it.
Yeah.
Because guys that are doing these games want to put out the best looking, best playing product. And guess what? That's going to be on the X. Mm-hmm. They're on top now, and they've got the data, the videos, the images, the comparisons to prove it.
Yeah, I think in the comparisons, just to say that this is what I feel, is if they're going to do the native 4K version of the picture, and somebody's saying they're doing a 1080p version of the picture, if there's a checkerboard 4K version of Tomb Raider on PlayStation 4, they should have that in that comparison. You know what I mean? Because that's a little misleading. But is that a 1080p version? Or is that just a comment from somebody? because unless they're actually saying this is 1080p or whatever. But yes, you started off the whole thing. It's like, I bet you these graphics comparisons all stop, here pretty soon. And I'm 100% agreeing with you, because 900p to 1080p was a massive deal. Like, it was huge. Like, it was
every game that released had a freaking comparison
video.
video.
I mean, it was just disastrous that we had 900p. And I remember the whole time, it was the whole thing. It's like, so many P's, I can't even stand it. But now it's just like, now that there's the K's have rolled into the, thing, it's just like, oh, that's not fair to compare that. Yeah, it is. Sorry. I mean,
yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things.
Compare the flagship against the flagship.
Yeah. But those
all stand themselves.
Yeah, those graphics comparisons, I was impressed. And you mentioned Bungie and Destiny. The Destiny beta is going to be coming out on PC here pretty soon. And I guess it looks gorgeous on PC. Because the high frame rate, high graphic fidelity and stuff like that. If I was Sony right now, I'd just be telling them, please don't release a beta on PC. Please don't release a beta on PC because it's going to look amazing compared to the PlayStation and Xbox. It's going to destroy both of them. As far as looks and feel, now I still think the consoles will sell a lot more because depending on how they treat the PC community. But just of some videos and stuff I've been watching, I guess it looks crazy good. So on PC.
Yeah.
So, all right. So PUBG talk. I am always up for PUBG talk. PUBG's one of my favorite games right now. Do you wanna? Who put this one in? You, Mark, or? Okay, go for it.
So at Gamescom, they got the ability to play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Xbox One and compare it to the PC. So I don't want to read this whole article, but they were talking about, taking a game from the PC that has 100 players in a match and putting it on a console is definitely a big challenge. The game did have some performance issues that they played. Obviously, it's not even in early release or yet. But they said it was that it looked outside of some draw distance. The game actually didn't look bad. It looked pretty comparable to the PC. The frame rate was consistent and smooth. The developers are aiming for 60 frames a second on it. They did say it's still a bland, dull-looking game, but it ran almost as well as the current PC version. They don't think that console players will be disappointed. So outside of some draw distance that was noticeable at the moment, that was about it. They did say there's some UI changes. So I think one of the bigger questions, like I never really been concerned about the visuals. It's more of, because I mean, I've seen it on PC. It's a nice looking game, but it doesn't look like anything that, the Xbox One Day One edition couldn't handle. I'm sure the X will be able to, breeze through this thing. But they said the UI does take some getting used to. So on an Xbox controller, you're going to change weapons by hitting the right or left on the D-pad, and you'll change your fire rate by hitting down. You will reload with the Y button.
Ooh.
You will open and close doors with the X button, and they currently didn't see any option to change button mapping. Hopefully button mapping will come in because I'd much rather reload with X just because every other game does that.
Tell you a good thing to help with that button remapping is to have one of these.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Time.
Have one of those pros. So pro controllers, because I use this like crazy in Battlefield because the left and right D-pad is what switches your specials, or like drop a crate or bring out your syringe or throw out a med pack, and I use these buttons like crazy to flip my weapons and stuff like that. So quick to do it that way. But I still stand by if you can find one under $100, it's a good buy, but still not at the 149.
The big question.
Yes, you can remap on anything on Xbox. The buttons.
Well, they said there's no option yet. Oh, you're talking about for the Elite controller?
Any controller. You can use the whatever that app is, I believe. Hawk is actually talking about it too. You can remap on
Okay.
any controller, not just the Elite. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm just reading the article of the people that were hands-on, and they said there isn't currently any option to change button mapping, so it's not in the game. You would have to use some other outside source that something I'm not aware of. Inventory management, they said, is well organized, intuitive, but similarly slowed down by your inability to click and drag weapon modifications and the like. While these slowdowns are surely in the milliseconds, for a game that thrives off intense moments that require fast response times, they have concerns how even the slightest delay in weapon swapping might fare for console players. The developers at Bluehole they are intending cross-play between PC and console, and one option they're considering is aim assist on the console. So, Brun, I was curious what your thoughts were on aim assist. Do you think is that a fair? Well, I don't even know how to ask this. I don't want to say is it fair, but do you like the idea of aim assist in this game?
I think it's going to be you're going to have to do it on console. To a little bit of a point, I think aim assist like in Battlefield is done really well. I think the aim assist done in Call of Duty isn't done very well. I think they get too much aim assist, but there's going to have to be a little bit because, but of course, I'm saying that with my experience on PC. Like on PC, you are sometimes shooting at a very, very long distance, trying to hit somebody on the run. And I crank down my mouse sensitivity between 600 to 800 on PC when I'm playing, typically around 800. So that controller, you know how it is to get a fine point on there. So I think there would need to be a little bit. It's not going, something like that won't ruin the game, in my opinion. I think you need a little bit, just a tad bit. Something similar to Battlefield. If it's like Battlefield, then I think everything will be fine. So,
okay. Well,
yep.
So that's what we have on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds coming to Xbox. So it's looking good.
Cool. All right.
And then I did this last one, my last story, because Brun, I figured we'd have to talk about this one too. Not that you're a Patriots fan, but for the Patriots fans out there, a lot of them are upset right now.
Oh, who'd they put on the front? Oh, it's Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady's on the front right now. So the Madden curse, is it real? So in the 20 years, I kind of want to read this one because I just think this is interesting, and I'm curious for you guys. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this little first part here gives you some history. So in the 20 plus years of the Madden football game franchise, infamy has surrounded those selected to grace the annual football simulator's cover. Since the San Francisco 49ers, Garrison Hirsch broke his ankle after being named Madden 99 cover athlete, rumors have circulated of a curse. The curse grew in infamy as an ever-increasing numbers of Madden cover athletes suffered high-profile injuries after being named to the Madden cover. Michael Vick broke his fibula during the 2003 preseason, while Vince Young, Troy Polamalu, and Sean Alexander all lost time due to injury. Other cover athletes simply had terrible seasons compared to their normal successes. Drew Brees had a down year after his selection, and Marshall Faulk, usually so reliable, failed to pass the 1,000 yards rushing. Now fans are so superstitious about the curse that they actively campaign for their favorite player to not get selected for the cover.
That's funny.
So I'm just curious as to what you guys think. What's your thoughts, Brun? I know you're the sports guy of the three of us. So
yeah,
is there a curse?
I don't think there's a curse. I find it it's pretty interesting that they do that. I don't think there would be a curse. I really don't believe into it. I do believe probably Tom Brady will have another, great year, because the thing is when they go and they look at like Drew Brees and stuff like that, that they look at his weapons and stuff that they did not re-sign that year. So it's they kept him, but did they get rid of his whole entire offensive line, or did they not re-sign the receivers and stuff like that? There's 1,000 things that go into that, and I think the Cornbread says, "Please let this be true with Tom Brady." So, and I mean, I like to follow some teams that have Buckeyes on it. Like I watched the Cowboys because of Ezekiel Elliott, and things like that. And I think Tom Brady is a fantastic quarterback, even though he's from Michigan, and he's from Ohio State's rival. But hey, people like to hate the teams that are on top. That's just the thing. So, and when you cheat, sometimes they don't care for you either. So I've heard the Patriots cheat or something. I don't know. I don't pay much into that, but I'm more of a college football guy too. So, pro sports isn't really my thing. So watch Thursday. Buckeyes play Thursday.
Ohio State either. So.
Yeah. What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, please take me and kick me off the podcast for the rest of the night and make me host next week without giving me assets. I think that's what you said, right? Oh man, Cornbread said something bad. Moobot took care of Cornbread.
Oh, he capped.
Oh, he said Jag fan here. But yeah, I don't believe in the curse.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see, right? So for
Patriots
fans, they're a little worried right now.
That is funny, though. That is funny. All right. Recap there, Rob.
Okay.
If one of your recap things has to be with what the new Games for Gold is, save it until when we go over Games with Gold.
It is not.
Hey, Gunny Chief, thanks for the tip, buddy. $10 from the Chief.
Thank you.
Or if it's about the Madden curse, you can skip that one.
Yeah.
Like last week.
Yeah, you weren't reading your email this week. Somebody approached me at work and said that they thought that they thought that maybe during audio editing that you happened to have replayed part of the show twice in the audio because you started covering what we just talked about. It said until you guys were like laughing about it, until we were laughing about it, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So, all right, but go ahead.
Okay. So a couple of the things that kind of snuck in over the past week. One thing is Microsoft is looking at something called intelligent delivery. This is basically to kind of get around some of the hardships that we have with our Xboxes of just not enough hard drive space. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm hitting the 70s in my 70%. I think it was at like 78% yesterday when I looked at it of my, I think it's a 4 terabyte. But what intelligent delivery is, and again, they're just looking at this. So we don't know if it's going to be coming or when, or if it's this year, next year, years off or whatnot. But basically what it'll do is it can send parts of a game off to the cloud, whatever that means, after you're finished with them. So it seems like it's some kind of automated system to offload parts of games after you are done with them. Because if you think about it, like I was just looking at Evolve, that's a 35 gig download. You probably don't need all those assets all the time. Like, for example, if something just plays through only one time in the game, never again, it could offload that whole section to the cloud. You could probably eventually retrieve it at some point, but why have it sitting there using up your bits on your hard drive?
Right.
But anyway, it's something that's kind of interesting, and it's cool that they're looking at that new stuff for us. GameStop.
Sorry, one thing to take that a little step further. I don't know if it was a game thing or if it was per game. So maybe if you or Mark know of a game that did this, or if it was a system thing. But on PlayStation 4, when you download, it kind of asks you, do you want to download the multiplayer version first or the single player version. You know, like on Uncharted, and I think The Last of Us did the same thing. Like, it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to play the story, or do you want to do this? And that's kind of what, like, it brought down first. So it would be pretty interesting if you could do that with, like, the story mode. Like, when you're finished with the story mode, if it's like, do you still want to keep the story mode on your hard drive and keep the multiplayer, or do you just not want the multiplayer, things like that, where you could just pick and choose, almost like an installation of software. You guys are obviously familiar with installing software. You know, do you want to install these 5 things on here, or do you just want these 2? It would be neat if they start making games like that to knock it down, because Battlefield is huge, and it would be nice to kick out some of that stuff. But
Oh yeah. And even like, let's say in the single player campaigns of some of these games, they have those cutscenes.
yeah,
Who knows how many gigs they take up? Like, let's say like the intro story, and you're never going to see it again unless you maybe just wipe everything and start from scratch. But that should always be an option.
right. Yeah, that's kind of neat. But okay,
So, yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
And next thing, this was kind of interesting. So Xbox One X related news. GameStop reported in one of their earnings reports recently that Xbox One sales have noticeably slowed down since the Xbox One X has been announced.
Nope.
So this creates an interesting situation. Is it a bad situation? Probably not. You know, it probably hurts Microsoft's numbers temporarily. You know, because if there's a slowdown in new console sales while people are waiting, they'll have a killer Xbox One X season then, and they're trading one for another.
Well, it's either that, or people want to have all the options before they make their decision. So,
Sure.
you know, if I'm going to go out and buy an S, and it's like, well, okay, can I drop a couple hundred more for an X? You know, well, let me decide closer to Christmas when I have both those choices, because maybe I'm getting a 4K TV in the next couple months, so they kind of want to wait instead of running out and buying that. And to be honest, the same thing happened with PlayStation when the when the Pro was coming around. The regular PlayStation 4 kind of slowed down, but I think that's normal. That I don't think that has to do with anything with the two companies when they did that. That's just buyers being smart with their money, I think.
I think a lot of people probably are running into the same, at least gamers, are running into the same situation of, well, you know, I want to get another Xbox over, let's say, in the living room. And then, oh, there's a new console coming out, and I do want to get a 4K TV. Well, let me hold off. I'll get both. You know, it's going to be launching in November. I've got, 6 months of time to get them both. I'll get the TV this fall. You know, people plan like that, and it makes sense to me.
All right.
And then the last thing is, I think this started earlier this week or possibly late last week, but Microsoft has bumped up what you can do in the Xbox store for insider builds. You can now buy peripherals in the Xbox store through your console. So that's kind of neat. Makes sense. Makes sense to do that, I guess. So not only can you get your digital games, but you can get stuff mailed to you. And that's it.
All right. So moving forward, it is time for our community. So if you go to this Xbox Life, there is a plethora, like my English this week, of ways to contact us. Now, there's voicemails and there's emails, are two of the ways to get on your voice or your questions and answers and comments onto the show. If you'd like to do a voicemail, you can go to thisxboxlife.com. On the right-hand side, click voicemail, follow the prompts, and send it in. That emails us through a thing called SpeakPipe. Or if you record your voice in MP3 format and you email it to us, we'll also put it there. Now, that email, where you can send that voicemail and or just a regular email question, is contact@thisxboxlife.com. If you go to our website, thisxboxlife.com, and click on the contact up in the top right, that'll give you a nice form that you fill out with your information, and that gets sent to us through another system. So those are the ways to get a hold of us. For this week, we have an email from CatFlap1970. So I'm going to kick that off right now.
Good morning, guys. CatFlap1970 here. The Xbox One X price is out, £449. I don't know what it is in dollars and things. But it's £449 over here, gentlemen. Gonna be leaving it. I don't think I'm gonna order one. I will at some point in the future. I don't have a 4K projector or TV, so I think I'm just gonna sit back and see what happens. They will be available in the future. After the Christmas period, let's say sort of like Easter time. Maybe Easter time I'll re-look at it again. But £449. It's a shame it's not £399, to be honest. That 40 some odd pounds extra has put me off a little bit. But I will be joining the bandwagon at some point. Anyway, good show, chaps. Talk to you later.
All right, CatFlap, thanks for the email, or voicemail, I should say. So, $449, I looked it up on Google. That is $578.59 US, where I think in US dollars it is just $499, right? $499 US dollars.
And for our Canadian listeners, that's 722 Canadian dollars.
Yeah. So, so 499 is around 387. So when he was saying, it'd have been nice to, be around the 399, at that point he's looking around, probably around what we're paying, I think. Oh no, I guess not. So what is 399 British pounds? Oh no, I hit the wrong button. Back to the show. Okay. Sorry guys, I just flipped that on you.
514 currently.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that'd probably that'd be a little more even what we're paying versus what they're paying. So
but I think out in England everything is more expensive.
Yeah.
It's a whole.
So but the one thing is too, CatFlap, and I'm in the same boat, is that there's nothing wrong with not buying one right now. You buy one when the price is right for you. I have my price that I want to buy it at, and when it gets there, I plan on doing so. So it's just not immediate. So nothing to worry about there. But all right.
I mean, you're not at the cool kid club, but we'll still play with you.
Oh, nice. So womp womp womp. So all right. Email, Rob.
Okay, we got one from Angry Apples PH. Hi guys, just finished listening to and enjoying TXL 447. Sure feels like a tough time to be an Xbox fan at the moment with all the X haters out there. I have to agree with the argument that the lack of first-party titles for the Xbox One X is extremely disappointing. There's really no excuse for this if they are planning ahead properly, and for CD3 to get shifted so soon after the firm date being announced. Ouch. All that being said, I still think Microsoft looks after their customers and listens to them far more than Sony or Nintendo for that matter, as the work done in the past year for the Xbox dashboard and backwards compatibility titles goes to show. I've ordered my Scorpion Edition via TXL's Amazon link as promised, so hopefully this will go some way to replenish the Xbox credit I won a few weeks back. Thanks to the recent Digital Foundry review of Tomb Raider, Xbox One X versus PS4. Could only be the start of some great looking revamps for the X. And ultimately, I think this is where X will win out, both on revamping existing and new third-party titles. Time will tell. Anyways, thanks for the great show and all the best to the whole team.
The one thing that I've kind of said with somebody, at work and stuff when we're talking about games is the, cancellation of the game that will not be named and stuff. Yes, that's a first-party game, but there are no first-party titles for the X. there are only first-party titles for Xbox. Because remember,
Yeah,
as of this
that's true.
point, at this point, all games come out on all the consoles, on the Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X. It is just disappointing around, in general, that one game got canceled, but you can't have 15 first-party titles every year. So, and I think even last year when we were talking about it, it's like when they start to get delayed, that's what happens when games start getting delayed. That's when you have just this abundance of first-party titles in one year, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this year's awesome! Look how many titles we have." But when things get delayed, you be prepared for next year to not have anything, and stuff like that. So, but yeah. All right. Well, guys, our next thing here is our Twitter account. Go to thisxboxlife.com/Twitter, or twitter.com/thisxboxlife, and you'll get to our Twitter account. I think that's where I'll probably be posting when I'm going to be streaming, and things like that for the Titanfall 2 and stuff coming up this week. And what I did post in our Facebook group to come out and join last week. So I'll try to maybe do both. But that is Facebook, or thisxboxlife.com/Facebook. I think that's all what's new for the week.
For the week of August 28th through September 3rd, we have Redout Lightspeed Edition on August 29th. Also on the same day, Ark Survival Evolved 1.0. On the 29th, we have Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder. Get it? Rock,
Yeah.
Boulder. Yeah. All right, Resident Evil Revelations, Dead Alliance, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Killing Floor 2, Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition, Recore Definitive Edition. On the 30th, we have Exmorph Defense, the Metronomicon Slay on the Dance Floor, Surf World Series, Feral Fury, Eternoblade. That one was a little weird to say there. Eternoblade. On the 31st, we have Life is Strange Before the Storm Episode 1. September 1st brings Songbringer, White Noise 2, and Echoes of the Fae, The Fox's Tale. So it's quite a bit of stuff, actually.
Cool.
And then if you're going to be making any purchase on Amazon, such as, I don't know, shiny brand new Xbox One X and peripherals and who knows what else, make sure to use our affiliate link. You can find that at our website, thisxboxlife.com, or you can just go to thisxboxlife.com/Amazon. If you use that each and every time you make your purchase on Amazon, we get a teeny tiny little finder's fee. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it sure helps us out. Also, if you're on the iTunes store and that's how you consume your digital media, podcasts, and that good stuff, find a show on there, search for This Xbox Life, give us a 5-star rating. That would really, really help us out, because the more ratings we get, the more we get bumped up in the rankings over there. Helps other people find the show. I believe that's it.
Okay, I think I spaced out. Did I space out? We went over games with gold, right?
Oh, no, we did not. I
Okay.
skipped those.
Okay, my bad.
Xbox, and my bad.
Well, so go ahead.
So there's going to be a switchover later on this week. So we've got a couple more days for these. For Xbox One, the August title was a Slime Rancher. And then mid-month, we had Trials Fusion. So you've got a little bit of time for both of those. On September 1st, they're bringing in Forza 5. About time they brought in a Forza game into this. Xbox 360 has Red Faction Armageddon for a couple more days. And then on September 1st, it switches over to Hydro Thunder Hurricane. And make sure to grab the Xbox 360 title as well, because that's backwards compatible. You can play it on both systems. Now I think we're done.
Now you think we're done. All right.
Are we? Did I skip anything else?
Nope, I think that's it. So,
Good.
but anything else, Spark?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for episode 448. Please come back next week for 449 for our live show, and I'll make sure to tweet out and stuff for gaming with BJ Swick 33 probably throughout the week. Do some Titanfall and things like that. So, but with that, I'm Brun BJ Swick 33.
I'm Rob, also known as Prestar.
I'm Mark, aka Wingman 709, taking off.